Take over the babies.
Okay, this is part 2 of the lab setup. Getting ready to start the labs found in the MOAC Microsoft Official Academic Course, Configuring Advanced Windows Server 2012 R2 Services in preparation for exam 70-412. So, in the last video, we went ahead and we set up Hyper-V, and we set up our machines. And I have them all running currently. The RWD Co1, the Server1 and Server2. I set up all of these identically as far as the amount of memory that they needed and so on. And they are all set up with the same password. So let's go back into the RWD Co1 and continue our journey. And the next thing we're going to do is install Active Directory and DNS. So here we're going to look at the DNS server, and I'll put that in red, and the Active Directory domain services, and I'll put that in red as well. Alright, so I'll minimize this and go into my RWD Co1. Oops. Okay, we're going to put in password. Again, this is the password we're going to be using for all of our labs. Okay, so we wait for it to boot up. I'll put it on pause until the dashboard comes up. Okay, here's our dashboard. And we want to go into Manage, Add Roles and Features, Next, Next, and Next again. And here we're going to go ahead and add our Active Directory domain services. And then we'll click on the button that says Add Features. And then we're going to select our DNS server. And then Add Features. And then Next, 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 and Install. And I'll go ahead and put this on pause while we wait for this installation. Alright, while this is finishing up on the RWD Co1, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. And I already have Server 1 turned on, and it's finishing its boot up process into the server dashboard. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with the RWDC and change the time zone and add an IP address. Alright, so if we go to local server, and again we're on server 1, we're going to go into time zone, I'm going to change it to Eastern. Okay, now that we have the time set, we're going to go into set the IP address. Left click, right click, properties, IPv4 properties, and this is going to be 192.168.1.60 tab. Go to our DNS 192.168.1.50 and then OK, close, close, and we're going to go ahead and rename it, and this is going to be Server1. Change Server1. Now I can't change the domain yet because we're still waiting for the domain to get installed, but I can go ahead and reboot with the new name. I'll go ahead and let that one reboot. Restart now. I'll minimize that, get that out of the way. Here's Server2, local server. Again, we're going to do a time zone first. Change time zone. Eastern. And then OK. OK. Go to the Ethernet. Left click, right click. Properties. IPv4. Properties. 192.168.1.70 and again the DNS is 192.168.1.50 and then OK, close, close, and again we're just going to rename it. Change Server2, OK, OK, close, restart now, and I'll go ahead and minimize this for later. Okay, and let's go back into our RWD Co1, which is now finished. And we're going to go ahead and click on close. Now if we go back to the instructions, or the lab setup guide, so this is what we've done. Now we need to go into Tools, and then DNS. Okay, go to DNS Manager, we're going to create a new zone. We're going to go in the forward lookup zone first, and finish, and then promote the server to a domain. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go into DNS. So, Tools, DNS, and we're going to expand the RWD Co1. Here's our forward lookup zone. Right click, new zone. Next. We're going to leave it as a primary. Next. Contoso. I can never remember if it's Contoso or Contoso.com. Okay, so it's contoso.com. And then next. Next. And we're going to go ahead and allow both non-secure and secure dynamic updates, only because later in month, I think I don't know if it's in the setup or lab 1 is going to end up having to change this. So we're just going to go ahead and go to it. And then finish. Now if we close out of this, we can now click on this little triangle. And we want to promote this server to a domain controller. We want to add a new forest. And this is going to be contoso.com. And then next. Now it's going to ask us to put in some passwords. We're going to use our lab passwords we're going to continue to use. Okay, now we're going to go and put in password. And then next. Here we're going to click on change. Administrator. Password. And then OK. Next. 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 Okay, we're going to go ahead and do install. And I'm going to pause the video while we wait for this to finish. Okay, so now that my system's rebooted, we're going to click on Other User. And then Contoso, which is the name of the domain, / administrator, and password. Now that we have our DNS set up, I'm going to go to minimize this and go into my server 1 and 2, or server 1. Server 2. Now I should be able to assign these to the domain. See what else is next in the instructions while I wait for this to come up. Alright, so we did forward lookup zone. Okay, we did that. Okay, we need to do the reverse lookup zone next, so let's go ahead and do that. Here's our RWDC tools. And then DNS. Now I'm going to minimize this just to get it out of the way. And enlarge that. So we have our forward lookup zone. There's that. So we're going to click on reverse, right click, new zone, next. And we're going to store the zone in Active Directory. That's fine. Next. 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 Now the network ID is going to be the 192.168 and 1. And again, we're going to allow both non-secure and secure. Next. Finish. And I'll go ahead and close out of this. And let's go back to our instructions. Okay, now we have to install the DHCP. We're going to go back to our dashboard, manage, add roles and features, next, next, and then DHCP is right here, add features, next, 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 and install. Now while that's working, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this and take a look at the other two machines. Okay, local server. And we're going to go into our work group. Again, we're going to click on change. And here we're going to click on domain. About 50% of the time I get it to go through, the other 50% I have to do a few extra steps. So we'll see what happens this time. This is actually a good sign. We're going to put in administrator and password, and then OK. Welcome to the contoso.com domain. Perfect. OK. Close. And I'll go ahead and restart now. to minimize that one. Let's go into this one, local server. Okay, workgroup, change, domain, contoso.com, and then OK. Administrator, password, and then welcome to Contoso. OK. Close. We'll go ahead and let that restart. Alright, let's take a look at our RWD Co1. And we are done here. We'll go ahead and click on close. Let's take a look at the instructions. Oops. Alright, so now we're going to go into the DHCP console and create a new scope, 30 to 40. Alright, so we're going to go into Tools, DHCP, and let's see, make this a little bit larger so we can see what's going on. And we're going to expand that. Click on there. So we're going to left click, right click, new scope, next. I don't remember what we named it. Oh, main scope. Main scope, next. 192.168.1.30, 192.168.1.40. Okay, and then next, we'll change that to 1 day, and next, okay, yes, I want to configure these options now, and then next. I'm going to click on next and then finish. No. Next, the domain name and DNS servers page. Next. Here we're going to type in 192.168.1.50. Click on add. We're going to click on that and then next, 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 and finish. And we should be able to right click. It looks like it's already been activated. Or authorized. So we're going to go ahead and close out of this. Click on our little triangle, see what else is going on. Complete DHCP configuration. Next. That's fine. And commit. And close. We are set. We are green all the way across the board. We're looking good. So now we're going to go ahead and minimize this and open up our Windows Explorer here. And on our C drive, we're going to double click and right click, new, folder. We're going to call this software. Now the next thing we need to do is share this. So right click, properties, sharing, advanced sharing, share this folder, permissions, allow full control, and then OK, OK, and close. All right, now let's go ahead and minimize this for just a minute. This is what we just did. We created a software folder. We did all this. We need to copy the Windows SDK into it. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, now I've stored all that stuff in here. So I want to copy this. So I'm going to copy. Now I'm going to click on network, and you guys are going to get to see my big network here. And you'll notice I don't see my RWDC. That's okay. You don't always see it. RWDC Co1. And you can see right here, software. And it takes me to my software folder. I'm on RWDC, but I'm accessing it through my live machine. So Control V. Oops. Paste. There we go. And there's my SDK. Now if I open up my RWDC and go into software, you'll now see the Windows SDK on there. I'll close out of this for now. Minimize this. Go back into here. And scroll through the lab. Okay, now we've already created a second switch. We did that in the very beginning. We've also already installed Server1. We've done all that. Okay, but it wants us to add a private switch. So that means we're going to have to turn off Server1. Let's minimize this for a minute. Close this. Go to my Server1. And I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. And I'm going to shut down Server2 as well. And then minimize both of these, get them out of the way. Now I'm just going to drag this, snap it to my side. And go into Hyper-V and Virtual Switch Manager. And this is where, yeah, it is going to let me minimize. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm on Virtual Switch Manager. So I want to create a private switch. So I can do new virtual network switch, private, create virtual switch. I'm just going to call this private switch. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do apply. Private. And then OK. Go back to Hyper-V. Okay. Now we need to go into, this was for Server 1. So we're going to click on Server 1, click on Settings, Add Hardware, Network Adapter, Add, Private Switch, and then OK. So I'm going to go back into my settings again just to show that it's there. So here's my internal switch, here's my network adapter. Actually, this should say private. There it goes. And then apply. Okay, now I have my private switch. And then OK. So I initially had to add it here to make it available. And then once you've added it there, we have to go here into our actual server or whatever machine that we want to add it to. And then add it, like adding a new card. So you basically have to add it kind of twice. All right, minimize this for a minute. Now we've already installed Server 2. And we've already connected it to Contoso. Now, I did make my virtual hard disk drive a little bit bigger. I kept them all pretty much the same at 70 gig. So this is already done. This is already done. Now this one wants to add the hardware, add the private switch to it as well. So we're going to go to Server 2. Right click on Server 2, Settings. There's my Add Hardware, Network Adapter, Add, Private Switch, and then Apply. And now I have my private switch on Server 1 and Server 2. And we'll go ahead and do OK. And then then minimize. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video there, and then on the last video we're going to go into installing the storage and the SCSI drives. I don't want to make these videos too long.